today, inshallah, we are going to talk about this part, the first one here, C string and the string class. Okay, but for the 2 dimensions, we will talk about this topic next week, inshallah. Please let me know if the slide is frozen. I will mention the number of the slide when I go to the slide, and please make sure that we are on the same page. If not, maybe Abdullah Shimmari can tell us that we are not on the same page, or maybe the slide is frozen. Okay, inshallah. Thank you, Abdullah, for your effort and your time. Now I will go to slide number 2. Okay, we will start directly with the programming and application. As I have mentioned, we will talk about C string, character array, and the standard string class only. Inshallah, we will talk about this topic in next week, inshallah. In next week. So now I will start with this one here, C string. Now, just to remind you about C++ language. C++ language, first of all, before it became a C++, it was C language. And it was developed and enhanced and became a C++. Okay. Now, in C language, we don't have a string. We don't have standard string class. We have C string, okay, which is an array of character. It is array, I will write AR, array of character. So in C, when we deal with string, we actually dealing with array of character. Now, when C language was enhanced, we now develop what we call here string class. We have developed this, or the C language was enhanced, and now it contains C class, and also contains the C string, the array of character. So now C++ contain both, contain this one and this one. But C language only contains the C string or array of character. So inshallah, during this lecture, we will explain this way of dealing with the strings and the other way of dealing with strings. We have 2 ways. Now in C++, we can use C string or array of character, and we can use string class. In C language, we only use array of character. I don't know if you have studied C. We were including a library called string in C, string.h. Here. Yani here in C, there was a library called string.h, and this library we were including in our program in order to deal with array of character. Now C language has been enhanced and became a C++ language, and now it contains both C string or array of character and contains string class. So you might see in some program that you have includes C string library, and in other program you have included string library. Okay, this is just an introduction. So inshallah we will go in details today. Now I will go to slide number 4, C-string character array. Now I am in slide number 4. Excuse me if there is something wrong in the connection, but actually this loss of connection from the universal network. Okay, so it is not from me. So inshallah today we will try to, we have talked with IT to solve this problem. We hope that this problem will be solved. So now I am in slide number 4, and we will start talking about C strings or array of character or character arrays. Now, I am now in slide number 5. Slide number 5. Character array is an array whose components are of type character, and this array are null terminated character array. Are null terminated character array. That means this array is terminated by this character. This character. This means end of string or end of element or end of character array element in the last element in the array. So this character here will be saved in the last element of the array. And this means null, okay, or end of string, or the last element inside the array of character. The null character is a character also. The null character is a character, is a single character. So if you have defined an array of type character, I will remove this. Let's suppose that I have defined character array S, and I have determined, or I have made the size of this array 11. So now the size of this array of type character is 11, and the name of the array, as you know, is S. So now the indexes will start from 0 to 10 because the size is 11. As we have discussed before, the indexes start from 0. So because the size is 11, so the indexes will be end at 10, starting from 0 to 10. Now, actually, you can use in this array 9 character. And the last character at index 10 will hold or will be containing this character. This mean end of character or end of our string. So if you have defined any array, of type character, this, I hope I can draw. This is what we have done here. We have defined array of character. The size of the array is 11, so the indexes will start from 0 to 10. But as I have mentioned, you can save character in the indexes starting from 0 to 9, and in index number 10 or element at index 10 will contain this character. This character mean represent null or end of the string here. So as you can see here, to represent one string, you need one-dimension array. Or to represent a word of size 10 character, you need a one-dimension array of type character. So if you want to represent any string, you need one-dimension array of type character, and as I have mentioned, the last element will contain this character. which means the end of the string, end of string. Now I will go to slide number 6. Now consider this statement, char name 16. Since strings are null terminated and name has 16 components, the largest string that can be stored has 15 characters. So, as you can see here, the size of the array is 16, but you can only save 15 characters. So, you will use the indexes starting from 0 to 14. These are the indexes here, from 0 to 14. But as I have mentioned, the last element will contain the null character. If you store a string of length, say 10, in name, the first 11 component of name, if you store a string of length, say 10 in name, so we suppose that we have here use 10 character inside this array. The first 11 component of name are used and the last 5 are left unused. Yes, I will share and stop share. Tamam, alhamdulillah. Now here I will try to draw what we are talking about in this slide. We have defined array of size 16. That means the size will end at 15 and it will start from 0. Now in this slide we are saying if you are store a string of length 10, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, here 9. That's okay, because you have stored a string of length, say 10 in it. So the indexes from 0 to 9 will be reserved here, because you have saved character inside this array here. But and now the first 11 component of name are used. 11 component. Why we have said here 11, not 10? We said in the previous line that the number of characters that will be saved is 10. But here we are going to save the first 11 component. That means index at 11 element at index number 10 will contain the null value here, or the end of the string. Okay, the end of the null value. And the other here, 5 element, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 elements will be unused. غير مستخدم هنا. So if you have defined here array of size 16, you can save inside this array 15 characters from 0 to 14. But if you have used only 10 characters starting from 0 to 9, now the end of the string, the null character will be saved in index number 10. Okay. So as you can see here, we have 10 for the name and 1 character for the null, so we have 11. So how many elements are now unused? We have remaining 5 elements here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these elements are unused. غير مستخدم. Okay. So here just we are trying in this slide to telling you again what is happening when you try to create array of character in a specific size and try to save character inside this array, and you may left some empty elements without saving. So this is what would happen. You will save the character at the starting from 0 until the length of your string. After the end of the character, there will be a string terminator or a null value here. After that, we will continue to the end of the array, and these elements until the end are unused. Okay, unused غير مستخدم. يعني أنت هنا reserved a place sorry inside the memory, but you are not using it yet. Okay, you are not using it yet, so you are wasting the space. Okay, now I will go to slide number 7 here. Number 7. I will clear the drawing. Slide number 7 here. So also here we are just talking about the same idea in the first. To declare C string variable, use the syntax array name maximum size +1. We mean by this, if you need, for example, to save array of size 7 character, okay, you need to save a string. You need an array to save a string of 7 character. You need to add another index for this one. So now the size will be 8. So as you can see here, we have saved in this array character S hi mom. Now we have hi space mom exclamation mark here and the end of the string. So the size of this string is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but we have defined an array of size 8 because we need another element to save the null character. So the generic rule always, if you want to define array of character for a specific character, let's suppose that you expect that this array name will contain 15 character, so make it 16. If you expect that the array name will contain a name of 20 character, make it 21. So this is just also an explanation. So reserve the additional character needed by this one. Add one extra element. Now here, if you remember, we have talked about this in our last lecture, in our previous lecture. We can define an array and initialize the value to this array. Now I have defined array of size 8, and I have assigned the following character inside this array. So I have hi space mom exclamation mark, and I have the end of a string here. So this can be done inside the character, the array of type character. And if you remember, we have mentioned that also that we can write this cout directly without writing a for loop. This is only applicable on array of type character. We can write it like this: cout s. S is the array name. So this is applicable or can be written in C++ language. You can write cout s and it will print for you all the elements inside this array. But this only, if you remember the slide in our previous lecture, only applicable for character array. Okay, don't forget this. Only for array of type character here. Okay, now also Another way for initializing the array, you can simply write char short string without, here is the size, it's not determined, okay? And you can here define, assign the following word to this array of character. So now this array will contain A, B, and also C, and it will contain the last at the end of a string or the null value. Okay. So if you have initialized if you have initialized the array of character in this way or in this way, it would be or it would make the same effect. Okay. So the character, each character will be saved inside an element of the array, and at the end you will have the terminator here. Okay. Now, but this is not applicable in C. This is not applicable. Don't do this. Don't do this. Okay, this is wrong. To define an array and put it and surround it between braces, this is not applicable. Okay, you can just consider it as a string, and C language will, or C++ language will understand that each character should be saved inside an element, as here and here, as you can see, and okay. So this is what actually happened, but don't do this. This is not applicable. Not applicable. Okay. So this is for slide number 7. Is this clear, guys? Do you have any questions until now? Okay. Thank you. Yes, Abdullah. Go ahead.
دكتور لما نجي اقفل سترينج اللي هو سلاش 0 ولا سلاش او؟
No, this is slash 0. Yes. I'm just sometime I don't know, I read it like this. No, this is slash 0 actually. Slash 0, okay. So this is the null character, yes. And also you have this mean end of the string. If you have saved a file, you will have a character for end of file. Okay. You can see this character, but each file is physically have end of file, and each string has end of a string. Okay, end of a string. Okay. So this is actually 0, but you cannot see it. Okay, it is a null character. You cannot print it. You will see in the next example that this one cannot be printed on the screen. It is a null, or representing a null character, or end of string, we call it sometimes. So in your eyes, you can see the end of file, and in your eyes, you can see the end of the string. Okay, but the computer cannot or does not have eyes to see it. So what we are doing here, for each file, for each end of file, we add a character, and this character is unseen to you and to me, which called end of file. For the end of a string, we have this one. This is called end of a string, okay? For end of line, we have a character for end of line. But you cannot see it on the notepad or any other editor, okay? But during programming, you will use this. You should check end of file, end of string, end of line. You need to check these characters in order to write your program and solve problems. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
Yes, okay. This is, I think, it's slash 0. This is unseen actually. Unseen. Maybe I said the slash O, but actually it's slash 0. It means, in other words, this is the end of the string. Okay. you can do a while loop here. For example, you write while not end of a string, while not this, or while not end of file, or while not end of line, do something, process the string. So actually, these can be used in the programming language. You can check them. You can check end of string, you can check end of line, you can check also end of file. Sorry. But now I will clear all drawing here, and I will go to slide number 8. Can you see the slide now? Now I will include IOS. Now we have this example. I think this will answer the student question here and will clarify the idea. We have character A of size 3 and we have saved inside this high. Why we have defined it of size 3? As we mentioned, we have 0, 1, 0 for the first index, number 0 for the first character, and index number 1 for the second character, and for index number 2 here, we have the end of a string, okay, which is /0 or whatever, /o, /0, I think, which is the end of the string. Now, as you can see here, when I start printing here, I have written my loop starting from 0 to until I less than 3, which means my for loop will start from 0 to 2. Okay, so here I have printed the first character, which is H, then I have printed the star here. This is the first one. Then I will print, then I go to when I complete my for loop, and now I became 1, so I print index of element of index number 1, then I have printed the star, then I have go to the other line, new line. Now here, for index number 2, which is element number 3, and the element number 3 index is 2, for I equal 2, it is the last iteration here, I have printed only the star, because here this character, as I have mentioned, does not appear to you or to me. You have to check it by code, okay? So this will not be printed on the screen actually. This character will not be printed on the screen. This one, okay? So it will not be printed. It will not be printed on the screen. Just we want to make sure that you have understand the idea. This is why here the value printed was star only. This is the hard-coded one. But the value, the end of the string, we call it the end of the string, or the end of array of character, or the terminator, string terminator, or the null value, whatever you want to call it. This one will not be printed here on the screen. Okay. So because it is the end of the character, now I will draw here just like this. Quickly, we have, sorry, I am not able to draw. So now here we can start from 0, 1, and 2. And we have here HI, or sorry, H should be small and I should be small, and this we have the end or the string terminator. So this is why I have started my iteration from 0 to 2. From I equals 0, while I is less than 3, which means this for loop will work while I is less than 3. So I will be 0 and 1 and 2. And I have printed the value here. Now I will go to next slide, inshallah. I will go to slide number 9 now. Here we have reading and writing strings here. The extraction operator can fill a string, but white space needs reading of data. But white space ends reading of data. Now, what's the idea behind this? We have defined an array of type character, and the size of this array is 8. Then we try to read the array here. Okay, then we try to print the value here. Now, if we have used cn like this, and you have entered the spaces here, the user hi, hello, only hi will be get stored inside the A. Why? Because we have spaces here. So there is a problem. There is a problem with there is a problem with the string here. A problem with the string here. Why this problem happened? Because we have added spaces between strings here. So if you want to read character, we advise you to use cn.get or cn.getLine. cn.get or using cn.getLine like this. cn.get_a, that means I'm going to read 7 character. I am going to read 7 character. And the spaces will be counted. The spaces will be counted. So if I have entered hi, hello, now we have h1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, here 8. So we have here supposed to be 8 here. I am going to read array of character, or I am going to read the character for 8 times here using cn.get. Now, if I have used only cna and I have entered the spaces here, only hi will be get stored or will get stored inside the variable or the array of character here. So to overcome this problem and solve it, I need to use cn.get. So I will read this value here, and the value will be saved inside A. Then I can print it the way I like here. So it's better, if you remember, we have mentioned that before, it's better to use predefined function that can read entire line, including spaces, cn.get and cn.getLine, cn.get and cn.getLine. Now you will see in C++ that you are able to deal with a string directly, with the string directly. Inshallah. But this is, as I have mentioned in the first slide, this was in C language, and now it is migrated or moved to C++. But in C++, there is another way to deal with strings. Now here, C string can be output with the insertion operator here. As you can see, we have defined in use, and then we have assigned the following character or saved the following character inside the array. And as I mentioned, for the array of character, it is okay to mention only the array of character, the name, only the name, to print all the character of this array. And I have printed beside the word wow. So it will print the value here until we finish the array. Then we we will write the word wow. Now here, continuous, as we have mentioned, continues to write the contents of name until it finds the null character. So how is cout is finding the null character? It is something related to the cout function. So cout, it is a function, it is a reserved keyword. And this word is programmed to find the end of string. So it will still print all the array of character by character, until it reaches the end of the array, and until it finds the null, or we call it the null character, or the end of a string character, or the string terminator character, and after that the word wow will be printed. So now, just let's imagine what we are doing, how cout is working here. Sorry for this. I have this string, which is C string here, C string, and I have here end of character. Now imagine cout every time before printing the cout function, every time before printing the value, check the character. If it is equal to /0 string terminator, he will stop. He will not print anything on the screen. So before printing this character, he will check. This command will check. Is it /0? No. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? No, 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 no. Until we reach at the end, until he finds this character. If the end of a string or string terminator is found, in that case, he will stop printing the value. It is just kind of a search. It is just kind of a search process. Okay. Now, is cout function? Yes, it is a function actually for printing on the screen. So it is programmed by the programmer to print value on the screen, and it searches for the end of the string, and by itself. And if he fills the end of a string, this command will stop printing the values or the elements of the array of these characters. So it is just kind of a search process here. We start to print here, until, and every time he prints the value on the screen, he will check. Is it equal /0 string terminator? No. Once he found it, he will not do printing, and it will exit here. He will exit this command. And after that, we have printed a hard-coded here. This is a hard-coded value. We call it a hard-coded. So this value will be printed hard-coded. This value will be printed beside each other. So the output will be C string space 1. C string space 1. This is the idea behind the cout function. Now I will go to slide number 11. I will clear the drawing, and I will go to slide number 11. So these are some C string functions that are used with array of character. So this what we call here C string function. In other words, we call this we don't want to draw built-in function. These function built-in. These functions are built inside the language. Okay. It is not a user-defined or a developer-defined. it is inside the language. موجودة مبنية في داخل اللغة. Why they have built in this function? Because they want the programmer to use their language. Okay, so they add function. Why they have add function? To make, in other words, to make life easier to the developers to work or deal with character or array of character. So these are already inside C++ language and C also, but you need, of course, to include the C string. And here you have to include this. Don't forget this at all. You need to include the C string library. We call it C string without dash. Without dash. Now the first one here, and I will talk about the quotient in general once I explain this function. So we have the function, we have the description, and we have the quotient here. Okay, quotients or limitation. Limitation, we can call it limitation. يعني بعض الأشياء أو المحددات لهذا الفانكشن أو بعض التحذيرات. بعض التحذيرات لك لما تستخدمها. Be careful, يعني be careful. Be careful. It means be careful when you try to use this function or this or this. Now, strcpy, it stands for string copy. String copy, that means copies the C string value from the source to the target. So if you have defined two strings here, the value from the first one will be copied to the variable in the first order. So, the value from the string in the second, copied C string value from source string, this is the source string, into the target string. So the value will be copied from this one here, sorry for this writing, for this one to the first one here. So the value will be copied from the second string to the first string. It is just like an assignment, okay? Now, strcat mean concatenates the C string value, source string, into or onto the end of the C string in C string variable target one. So we are concatenate. What do we mean by concatenate, guys? Yeah, I will allow you to speak in Arabic. What do you mean by concatenate? Concatenate. Concatenate strings. Concatenates mean joining, damage, or ربط, join. Join two strings together. So if I want to make concatenation between the word, for example, Fadi, I can't write now, and another word, that means I am going to join these two strings together. So the source string will be added to the end of the first string, and the value will be saved inside the target string here. I will repeat again. I will clear the drawing. Concatenates mean join C string value in the source string to the end of the C string in the C string variable target string here. Target string here. Okay. So I am joining. If I have two strings, I will join the second one with the first one. Okay. So if I have two strings here, I will join the second one with the first one. أربطهم. The second with the first. Don't forget this at all. Concatenate means joining أو ربط. Okay. Now this concatenate, why يعني I focus on this, because you will find the word concatenate in many programming language. You will find it the word concat in Java, in Visual Basic, in Python, in Excel. You will find a function to concatenate a string in Excel also. So concatenate is used a lot to deal with strings or to join or connect strings together. Okay, this is why I focus on the word concatenate, because you will see it concat, maybe concatenate, maybe con, something like this. So this is why I focus on this. I have focused on this one. Now we have also strlen, which returns an integer equal to the length of string. Okay, but the end of string terminator here will not be counted. But the string terminator here will not be counted at ما راح تنحسب هذا في when we calculate the length of the string. Again, how this one will ignore the end of string, there's a code for this function to ignore this, not to count this. Okay, it's just like a for loop to start and check each character inside the array and adding a counter. Now let's suppose that we have an array, any array here, and I'm going to count the character here. So I will do a for loop, and when before I increase the counter of this before I increase the counter by 1, I will check. If it is not equal the string terminator here, I will increase the counter by 1. Other than that, I will not do. I will not increase the counter. So if the character equal null or string terminator that's 0, that means I will not increase the counter by 1. Otherwise, I will increase the counter by 1, and based on that, I will write a function. So this can be done. Okay, it is not difficult function actually, but this is a built-in function defined in the language. Why? I will repeat again. Why they have added this function? To make C++ easier to be programmed, in order not to make you let's say write more lines of code to find the length. They have provided you by this function or by this feature, okay, to find the length of the string. And the value returned is an integer. It is not a double or a float or a byte. It is an integer value. Don't forget this. It is an integer value. Now, the last one is strcompare. It stands for string compare. String compare. We are comparing between two strings, string 1 and string 2. Now, if string 1 and string 2 the same, the value will be returned as 0. The value returned is 0. If string 1 and string 2 are exactly the same, we mean by the same character, the same letter, the same case also, it will return 0. It will return 0. So we mean by the same, not the same character only, and the same case in capital and small. No difference between the character at all, in the character themselves and in the case also. So if they are equal, the string compare will return 0. And if string 1 is less than string 2, we will return a value that is less than 0. Okay. If string 1 is greater than string 2, the value returned will be greater than 0. So this I will stop share and share just because I want to draw something here. which I can draw now. For str compare, it will return 3 values, imma 0 or less than 0, okay, or greater than 0. 0 when they are equal, exactly equal, the same size of character. Less than 0 if string 2 is less than string 1 is less than string 2, less than, it will return a value less than 0. Now, if string 1 is greater than string 2, it will return a value greater than 0. So we are depending on string 1. Okay. Now, how comparison happened? We have discussed this maybe in some of our slides or our lecture. If you remember, we start comparing character by character. We start comparing, for example, the first one with the first one here. If they are equal, I will go to and compare the next character. If they are equal, I will compare the third character. If this one is greater, if this one, for example, or for instance, is greater than this one, in that case, if this character is greater than this character, كان هذا الكاركتر أكبر مباشرة خلاص ما في داعي نكمل مقارنة, no need to complete comparing, and the value returned will be greater than 0. If this character is less than this character, the value returned will be less than 0 and no need to compare other character. But if they are equal, we will check the next, until we reach at the end. If they are exactly the same with the same case, in that case, the value returned is 0. Now I will clear the drawing and go to C string function. Here, don't forget this, we are including C string. Library. Now we will go or pass by some example for these. First of all, strcpy, if you have defined array of character, this is wrong, okay? This is illegal statement. Don't do this. How can I correct this, guys? Can anyone tell me how can I correct this statement? Make it legal. Let's suppose that str is array of character. Now I am in slide number 13. Yes, Abdullah. Yes, we can write it like this, and we can add, for example, number. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we will add for string terminator 6. In that case, that will be okay. In that case, it will be okay. Okay, but writing this like this here will not be okay. Yes, Ziad.
Doctor, we should put char before str, right?
Yes. We are talking about, yes, of course, we have to define the character and we have to put declare the type of character. That's okay, that's fine. But we focus on this here. Okay, we need to add square brackets. Okay.
I mean, if we don't put char, it will still be illegal, right?
No, I don't mean. I am talking about this statement in specific. You need to define character here. Yes, of course, you need to define every variable, right? But I don't write here a full code. You need to define every character. Everything must be defined, right? Either here or here. That's known for you. Defining the character, but I don't focus. I didn't focus on this. I'm focusing on this. If we are using C string, that means we are dealing with array of character. But defining the variable, it is something known for you. Okay? Yes, you need to define every variable. Every variable need to be defined. But we don't. The idea behind this statement not to define a variable. I don't ask you about declaring the variable because I did not embed fully code here. So you can tell me, oh, we don't write int main, or we didn't write include IO stream, or whatever, or we didn't write include, for example, C string. No, I did not here embedded the full code, but what we are focusing here is the square brackets. Okay, of course you are right. We need to define the character type. But if I have to tell you, for example, a question, assuming the code is fully embedded, for example, خلاص assume إنه fully embedded، عدل لي بس هذه الجملة، واضح؟ assuming إذا أنا قلت لك إنه assuming the code is fully embedded، فقط عدل لي هذا. If you add char, I will not consider it wrong. يعني wrong, but what I am focusing in is adding square brackets. Okay, Ziad, this is what I mean. We are focusing on this, not defining the variable now, because it is known for all of you that we need to define variable for any array or any used one. So now here we have include C string. Now you might tell me why we should include, for example, IO stream, because I might use C out or whatever, or where is the int main? No, I'm focusing on our lecture or what we have explained today. So you might tell me, no, this we need to add int main and begin braces and return 0. Where are they? Yes, we know that, but we are focusing on this. Now, we are focusing on dealing with array of character. Now, a common here, what we have mentioned before, str copy, string copy. We are copying hello here to the array str. It is just like assigning hello to str. str cp1. Okay, don't forget this. Now, here, if the size, this is what I want you to focus also on. Now, the size of this string is 11, and now you have copied this string to this array of character. Now, the size of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 elements will be copied here inside this array, and the array size is 11. Now, if you have written a word here, for example, hello, hi, hello, welcome, for example, now the size of this string is more than 11. Because the size of the string is more than 11, that means you cannot, that means this will not generate a compilation error for you. Okay, this will not generate a compilation error for you. So it is your responsibility to check the length of the string that you are dealing with. I will repeat, it is your responsibility, I will write it, responsibility as a developer to check the length of the string that you are dealing with, okay, or to check the boundaries of your string. So this will not generate a compilation error, but you need also, if you want to make your code reliable and يعني موثوق به ومعتمد عليه, you want to maybe add here if, for example, strlen x, for example, supposing that we have here x, I will copy here, for example, x. I am trying just to clarify the idea here, how to make it reliable. I will check here the length if strlen is less than less or equal 11, in that case, do the copy process. Do the copy process here. So this is will protect your code from generating error or from adding a rubbish value inside the array. So don't forget this. It is your responsibility to check the length of the string that you are dealing with str copy or str concatenate, whatever, you must check. So this is what do I mean by making it reliable. Okay, أو موثوق به أو معتمد عليه. This is the example here. So this is how we are checking that is, or how the experienced developer, for example, if you are in a company and you have a leader, maybe you will not consider this case, but maybe your leader or someone who will review the code with you, he will tell you check this before, check the length before copying. Okay. So now I will just repeat what we have mentioned here. This is unlegal. Okay, we need to add square brackets. We need to include C string here, and we need, this is how copy is working here. And if you want to make your code more reliable, check the length of the string before using strcpy or strconcatenate. Now strcat, we have talked about this. It concatenates or join or connect two strings together. The second argument is added to the end of the first one. So we have here char str30 corona, Allah yabadu ankum wa anna, and we have here strcat str in the word. Now this value will be concatenated and saved inside the str. Don't forget this. Now I will, that means I am going to join this hard-coded variable, this hard-coded string with the value, the array of character str. So I can use it corona here. It will be corona in the word. This value will be concatenated. And now the value of the result of the concatenation will be saved inside this variable str. So if you have written cout str, this word will be printed. You have written cout str. Yes, it is just like any other control statement or any other function. You can use them inside each other. For sure you can. And you might save or find some problem that you need to do this. You need to concat more than one string together, then add them on in the last in other one string or another variable. So you can use this. You can, of course. Some of myself, prefer to add them as a separate statement or a separate line. But if you want to add them in one single statement, it's okay. You can. This is a good question, actually. Yes, you can. You can use adding. You can add this built-in function inside each other. Now here we have str compare, as we have mentioned before. This str comparing two strings together. Now look at this statement here. If str cmb, c string 1 and c string 2, cout string are not the same, else the string are the same. Anyone can explain to me why we have written this code in this way? Quickly, anyone. why we have printed on the screen here string are not the same, and in the else we have written string are the same. Yalla guys, I need someone.
If we are comparing,
yes, who's with me? I can see your name. Who's with me?
Sultan.
Yes, Sultan, go ahead.
If we are comparing between these two and they are equal, it will return 0.
Yeah.
And 0 is false, so
yes.
it will go to the else.
Yes.
And if it's greater than or less,
yes,
it will go to the first.
Yes,
state.
Thank you. Great, Sultan. Excellent answer. Thank you, Sultan. So now I hope Sultan has answered the question for you. The value here, if they are equal, this will return 0. 0 inside the if means false. So that means I will not execute the if statement. I will go to the else part here and print they are the same. Now, if they are not the same, the value returned here will not be 0, so it will be true. So they are not the same. Okay. So here, if they are equal, just I will write this. The value returned will be 0 if they are equal, just to make sure that you have understood the idea. So if 0, that means if false, I will not do anything. I will print here, I will go to the else part and print C out string are the same. Thank you. Now I will go to slide number 16 here. Here just another example at the 9-8 for the copy and the effect. This is will summarize everything to you. We are copying this value to this one. This is the effect. Here we are returning the length. Here we are also returning the length of the array. I am now in slide number 16. Now we also here copying, comparing, and here we are copying, and finally we are comparing. Okay, so these functions are what we have talked about in the previous slides. Now I go to standard string class, and I will explain to you what are the functions there, or how we are dealing with the string there, Now, as I have mentioned in the beginning of my lecture, a string in C++, we didn't see in C, okay? Can be manipulated using either the data type string or the character array C string. So now I have two ways in C++ language. The string class allows the programmer to treat string as basic data type, So I didn't deal with the string as array. Array is not a basic data type. But string is allow you to deal, string class here, allow you to deal with or to treat with string as basic data type, okay? So you need to include the word string, not the word C string. And if you want to include both, that's okay for you. You can include string, you can include C string, it is up to you. It is up to you and depends on your code. Now, here we have using namespace std, and now I am in slide 18. So what we need of this slide to know that we need to include a string, and the string class exists in C++ language, not in C. And if you want to use C string, you can include C string inside your program. And the benefit of a string class is to allow the programmer to treat with string as a basic data type, not as an array, not as an array. Now I will go to slide here 90. Now to declare an array of 100 string, we can simply write this, which is easier to you and to me, string list of 100. So in that case, I have defined a one-dimension array. So now we have a string called a list array of type string that can contain 100 string, and it can be treated as one-dimension array. هذا المثال هنا. من 0 ل 99. Okay, and each element contain a string. As a string, each element contains string. Each element, not each element contain character. Each element contains string. Here is 1. S for string. S2. S3. Okay. So you can process this as any one-dimension array, and this is the easiest way. In next course, inshallah, you will deal with array of string. Now, to declare an array of 100 string, each string is 10 character maximum. Okay. Using C string, we mean by this using C string here. Using C string, you need to define array of character 100 by 10. We mean by this, I am going to define, I will write it here as I have written to the first group, two-dimension array. Two-dimension array. That means I am going to define array of character, but this array is a two-dimension. You know Excel, right? Like Excel. So it will contain 100 rows starting from 0 to 99. Okay? And every row contains from 0 to 19. And don't forget, this one will contain the string terminator. I called it string terminator. Maybe it's /0 here or /0, I don't know. I think it's /0. So here is the string terminator starting from 0 to 19, and here is the rows starting from 0 to 99. From 0 to 99. And here from 0 to 19. So I can use here write, for example, Ali. If this is not, if the array is not filled, the character here will not be here, will be here. Fadi, for example. And also I can, if I have filled here all the character A, B, C, D, F, and all character here are filled, the end of string will be in the last element. So this is a two-dimension array, Shabab. Two-dimension. To access any element, like Excel. In Excel, you need to know the row and the column, صح? In Excel, you need to know the row and the column. So this cell, for example, is A1. So if you want to write a formula for A1, For this cell, you want to write, you must specify the row, the column, and the row. And the same for this two-dimensional array. If you want to access any element, you need to know the column and the row. For example, this one is in index 0, 1, 1. Because here we have row number 1. Here, this is row number 1, and this is column number 1. So the index of this character here, which is A, is 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, and so on. So if you want to deal with this array of character, with this two-dimensional array of character, you must deal with two index مع موقعين شباب، اللي هو الرو. لازم تعرف الرو ولازم تعرف الكولوم، الرو والكولوم. كيف تتخيلوا هذه ممكن نعملها؟ ب1 لوب ولا 4 لوب؟ أنا عندي هنا 25 إليمنت، هنا عندي 100 إليمنت، لا 200 هنا، يعني 100 في 20 2000 هنا عندي، صح؟ يعني عدد الأسطر the number of row is 100 and the number of column is 20, so we have here 200. Okay, كيف بدي أتعامل مع هذه guys؟ Yes, nested 4 inside 4. But my question, Abdullah, why we did not use مثلا array for loop واحدة؟ ما أنا عندي من 0 ل 200، يعني 100 by 20 is 2000. Why I did not start it from 0 to 2000 or from 0 to 199? Yes, I will check other participant. You can see the participant actually. One of you answer, يلا. Anyone. Other than Abdullah.
لأن احنا نتكلم عن two dimensional array، فما تقدر تخليها كلها على خط واحد اللي هي بس مثلا x، لازم تصير x و y، فعشان كذا تخليها nested.
Yes, طيب. Yes, that's okay. Is there an index here start in this array? If I write a for loop from 0 to 999, is there anything inside the array here indexed by 1000 here? Nothing. So nothing here indexed by 1000. ما في عندي رقم هنا أو أي موقع, any location inside this array represented by 1000. I have 100, 0 to 99, and I have 0 to 19. So as your colleague said, who answered this? I can't see that. Who answered this question?
أنا دكتور الوليد العاشر.
الوليد ولا؟
إيه الله.
Yes, حياك. أنا الاسم ما يظهر عندي أحيانا، هو مشكلة في الترافيك، يعني إذا الاسم ما بيظهر عندي دائما. So now here we don't have look, index numbered by or index number, for example 500. Okay, we don't have. We have rows and columns, and based on that we need to write our for loop to deal with this location here, this location. So I need to access all the element here, let's say the 2000 element, without exceeding أو تجاوز الباوندرز تاعيتي من 0 ل 99 أو من 0 ل 19. Okay, so I need to write for nested loop here. And to access any element, just like Excel, I need to know the row and the column. I need to know the location of the cell, الخلية، باعتماد على الكولوم والرو. It's just like X and Y. So in this way we are dealing with a string. if we are going to use C string class, we are going to define two-dimension array. Now I will go to slide number 20 here. I will clear the drawing. Okay, now here we have just we use str copy inside the variable list1 here, which is row number 1, and we have copied the following character, snow space y, and don't forget at the end of this we will have the string terminator, here. This is the two-dimension array. As you can see, it starts from 0 to 99 and start from 0 to 19. 19 here in the row we have 19 columns and sorry, we have 20 columns and we have 100 row. Now here to we are using this for loop using to read values or fill the array with character or with string. This for loop is used to fill the array with character or to fill the array with a string. As you can see here, I will start from j equals 0 to while j less than 100. So I am filling them row by row. cn.get list of j 16. Yes, Abdullah. Okay, here in the for loop, I am in slide number 20 now. I am starting from 0 to 100. J while j is less than 100, and I am reading the string here, list of j, which is mean list of 0, list of 1, list of 2, and I'm going to enter for each row 16 character, as you can see here, because we have here 16 here, okay. And I will go over this for loop again and again until I fill the array. So this is the way of dealing with array of string. I think dealing with the string directly is easier to you. So array of string, in my opinion, is better than dealing with array of character or two-dimension array. And this is why C++ has added this class. Now I will go quickly to slide number 21. Slide number 21 here. Now here we have just what we are string vs C string, what we are doing in character array first, second, and what we are doing in the string directly. As you can see here, it is easier to use this here. Now, for the string, as you can see here is capital S. This means class. You will study classes, inshallah, later in Java, in object-oriented programming. This is a class, okay? And the class contains properties and method. You will study this, inshallah, later. I am here I want to pay your attention for this capital S. That means a class, not a basic data. Now here for declaring a variable, we have explained this. Now directly we can declare a variable here using a string. Now if I want to print the string, I need to write strlen. Here I can write s.length. Okay. If I want to assign value, I can use strcpy, and also I can use s1 equals 2. Here for compare, and here for compare, s1 with s2. Okay. And also I will check if s1 is less than or greater than with s2 here. This mean identical, this mean are not identical. So this is the way that we are dealing with string. And they are returning the same result here, the assignment, and we have the length, and we have for comparing. Also, if we want to print a specific character, 0, 1, 2. I can write C out your name at 2. That means I'm going to print here I, 0, 1, 2. And in using the string, I will find another method that calls at. Okay. Of course, the column on the right is the most common way for dealing with the string. If you are, if you wrote a code using any programming language, you will see that this is the common way, not this one. Okay. Here we have at to write or to print the character at specific location 0, 1, 2. So the character will be printed as Ahmed because we are starting from 0, 1, 2. Here. Here we have also cn.get and cn.get line. If you remember, we have here get line directly with the string. Just we are reading the string from the keyboard and assigning it to the variable my name. Get line. And cout is the same for both. Here we have defined for defining array of string here. We are using an array of character 2-dimension array, and here we are using only 1-dimension array, and this is, I think, it is easier to deal with, in my opinion. Now here we have, as you can see, this is capital S. We have included IO stream. We have included the string. I am now in slide 22. Okay. I am now in slide 22. Now we have int main, string phrase. We have defined a string which is called phrase here, and we have a string adjective. We have, this is another way to initialize a string. So here we mean that we have defined a variable called adjective, and we have put phrase inside this variable. And also we have defined another variable which is noun, and we have put inside the noun and variable. And we have, as you can see here, wish, Bob, I don't know the name here, apted, and then we have concatenate them together. So this one, you have used it before. If you remember one of the lab, we have made a concatenation. We have added. So now, pluses here between string mean concatenation, joining or connecting these strings together. So it is just like strcat. It is just like strcat. Then we have, after concatenate, we have printed the phrase here, which is I love Fred and I love Fred space and exclamation mark, and then we have printed wish here. So the main idea behind this slide is to check, to know that we can define a string in many ways. As you can see here, I have defined a string and put a value inside this string, and also I have defined a string which is wish, and I have put a value inside this variable. Okay, and also I can do the concatenation using pluses here, and I have printed them on the screen. Now, guys, this is called string, a class. You will study this later. You can use which, for example, cout which dot length. Okay, you can write which dot compare. So this means that this variable or this object can we can use it we can use with it many methods and many properties. Now I will leave you with this quiz. Inshallah, next I am now in the slide 23. Solve this quiz. I think it is solved actually. It is solved actually, and inshallah next lecture we will start with slide 24. Please remind me about this. We will start with slide 24. Don't forget that. And for the lab, inshallah, we will solve the lab without going to two-dimensional array. We will solve the lab without going through the two-dimensional array. Okay, thank you for listening. And I hope if you have any question, you can ask me if you have any question.